for a mean you're protected from life's uncertainties? Does it mean you can worry less and live a little more? Does it mean you're not alone, even when things get kind of hard? Actually, yes. Yes, it does. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Allstate and affiliates have products and services subject to availability, terms, and conditions.
This hour brought to you by Amtrak.
Get back to visiting new and exciting places across the U.S. On Amtrak, it isn't just a destination, it's about the journey. Without busy airports or cramped car rides, with no middle seats, extra legroom, and even private rooms. Book now at Amtrak.com. Adventurous journeys, just an Amtrak away.
As those temperatures continue to dip in Sacramento, it's cold out here. Warm up with us on your smartphone with the Odyssey app and through your radio.
Deliver media plans that will exceed your expectations. Let Salem Surround show you how we can solve for your marketing challenges by bringing nationwide resources while delivering Main Street solutions. Salem Surround is here to help you through the constant changes. We promise we'll help your business stay ahead of the changing weather.
Get started now at SurroundSacramento.com and let's navigate the changing business climate together. Visit SurroundSacramento.com. That's SurroundSacramento.com.
She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Which is why you need Home Title Lock. Title fraud happens when a criminal forges your signature on documents stating you sold your home to him. Then he takes out loans against your home and leaves you with the payments. You'll spend a fortune in legal fees trying to prove you didn't commit fraud. Home Title Lock puts a barrier around your home's title. The instant they detect anyone, from a cyber thief to a renter to a relative, trying to forge their way onto your home's title, they help shut it down. Go to HometitleLock.com, register your address to see if you're already a victim, and enter radio for 30 days of free protection. That's HometitleLock.com. Enter code radio.
Home, auto, commercial, liquor store, gas station, convenience store, hotel, motel, taxi, health insurance, life insurance ਤੇ visitor insurance ਦੇ ਲਈ ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਏਜੰਸੀ 4082722500 408-272-2500 ਖਾਲਸਾ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਏਜੰਸੀ.
This is Danielson's car.
I mean, sparkles like a diamond. Really shiny.
Look, this is Danielson's car.
Wow, I see what you mean.
With an unlimited wash membership at Quick Whack, everyone notices.
Time matters for most things in life, including how we use energy. Californians generally use more power from 4 to 9 p.m. when less clean energy is available. Try unplugging your unused devices or turning down your AC between 4 and 9 p.m. to help make a cleaner California for us all. So remember, power down from 4 to 9 p.m. Keep it golden. And learn more at energyupgradecalifornia.org/radio.
Put the squeeze on your tough pain with Goody's Cool Orange. The same fast-acting, powerful Goody's powder in a great-tasting Cool Orange flavor. Beat tough pain to a pulp with Goody's Cool Orange. Also, blast your pain away with Goody's Mixed Fruit Blast. 2 flavors, tough on pain, tasty on your tongue. We made Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. All available at Dollar General.
They're the keys to connecting to your health. At Kaiser Permanente, you can connect faster with video visits and our easy-to-use app. Track your health with access to most lab results and health records. You can even make appointments, email doctors, and fill most prescriptions. Kaiser Permanente. Tomorrow's healthcare today. Learn more at kp.org/thrive.
Appointments as available and appropriate. Features available from Kaiser Permanente facilities.
Delicious, bite-sized, 100% white meat chicken tender bites. You can munch, crunch, chomp, bite, nibble, snack, and savor any way you want. Just don't forget to dip them in our tangy sweet star sauce. Try our new hand-breaded tender bites however you want. Only at Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Available for limited time after regular breakfast hours. stores at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price of participation may vary.
Genius supports small business owners during their busiest time of year. Switch now and we'll pay off your phone up to $1,000. You keep your phone and your number. Plus, get $200 in Facebook ads on us so you can reach more customers and finish this year strong. Visit your T-Mobile store and make the switch today. Up to $1,000 via virtual prepaid card for eligible device payoff. Allow 15 days. Qualifying credit service porting and timely redemption required. No 2+4 lines or free existing lines.
Black Friday savings on furniture, mattresses, appliances, electronics, and flooring. Save on sofas, sectionals, and bedroom sets. You'll also save on top brand TVs and appliances. Hundreds of holiday gifts are in stock now. Plus, you can get a lifetime table for just $10 with purchase. You'll find incredible savings throughout the store. With Black Friday savings in every department, now is the time to shop and save at RC Willey. Your home, your way.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Charlton of Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to a lot of people who live sports. And I'm one of them. I love sports. Today is a beautiful November the 18th. 2021, Grando Deportes, bonjour, de Vini Vini Vici, as I love to say, welcome to the show. Really love, appreciate that. With Big C Sports Podcast, you can find us all around the world on 18 podcast applications. #1, Google Podcast. #2, you can find us on Alexa Podcast, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeart-Radio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, GeoSavan Podcast, also Pod Chaser. I gotta catch my breath, so I gotta get a little more. Give me some praise while I catch my breath. It's all fair in Level War. Call it winter working out. Nobody's working out in winter time. It's all fair in Level War. But also, I really love the fact that we're on 18 podcast applications. GeoSavan Podcast is actually out of London, England. Podtail Podcast, YouTube Podcast, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Online, Repod, Luminary Podcast, and then there's 4 TV applications: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really appreciate that. Give that some praise. Give that some praise. Really do appreciate that with Big C Sports Podcast. As I love saying Big C Sports Podcast, ESPY nominated Big C Sports Podcast. Love paying homage to my family from my great grandmother called her Mamo. She was a matriarch of our family. Always made sure the family stayed together through thick and thin. My grandfather, Pop, former Negro League baseball player, was well known for saying, "Boy, get out of that barn." All fair in Level War. You don't want to get hit by lightning. Get out of that barn is all fair in Level War. And then I really want to say to my grandmother, called her a mud deer. She was a seer, made sure the family stuck together through thick and thin, as well as my grandfather, Hezekiah. Very good people. And then my beautiful mother helped start a Head Start program in Northern California and also helped win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give them all praise. Really do appreciate that. Always been around the sports and the church when I was growing up as a little boy. On my father's side, the matriarch of the family is Alberta Curry. She helped my grandfather start 2 churches in Oakland, California. Also built 3 churches, one in Central California, 2 in Oakland, California, and then also earned 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Really do appreciate that. And my father, former Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, made sure the planes could fly high so we could all stay safe at night. And again, then my brother Todd, always that bombastic voice. I love giving them all praise. I love giving them praise. It's all fair in Level War with Big C Sports Podcast. And then I always want to thank my son Malcolm, who gives me a lot of stats on NBA basketball, and he's all over that. And then my daughter Daisy, who would help me set up for events when coaches came to town in Northern California, and I really do appreciate that. And then this Big C with this wealth of knowledge in the past. Give them all praise. Give them all some praise for Big C Sports Podcast. What a beautiful day. It's supposed to be overcast today, but it's still nice. But it doesn't matter whether it's rain or sunshine or snow. As I love to say, let's get ready to rumble. You know, there's rumbling down in the South tonight. The New England Patriots going to be taking on the Atlanta Falcons. That game is already underway, but I say ESPY-nominated Big C Sports Podcast. No scripts, no 3-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I do this show with my higher self, and I always appreciate giving that praise to God. I always say what I love about doing Big C Sports Podcast is I produce. Give that some praise. Come on. I produce the show. That takes a lot of hard work. I produce. I direct the topics. I broadcast the shows. I do all the sound effects. Sound effects are something that sometimes I wonder, how do they get there? It's all fair at level where I do the sound effects, and it's all fair. I love so much about producing a sports show. It's not as easy as it may sound at times. And then the commercials, I do all the stats and the storytelling, the play-by-play, which is lately we've heard, Steph Curry, 4 3s. Steph Curry been doing this thing all around the NBA basketball universe. And then I upload the show. It goes out to 18 podcast applications all over the world. It actually comes out of our agency in New York City. So I really do appreciate that. And then 4 TV applications. So I just appreciate everything that happens with Big C Sports Podcast. I love quoting the Bible since I grew up in the church. As one of the favorite scriptures in Genesis 13:15, God said, "For all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever." And the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2 said, "We have not because we ask not." So just ask. Give that some praise. If you want something in life, you just gotta ask. Ask is either yes or no, but it's always no if you don't ask. I love asking. Everyone that really cares about our country, praise our veterans. We have a Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And you can give them all praise. Love giving them praise as they help our veterans just get everything they need in life. Sometimes life gives you a curveball. Got to stay on top of that. I love giving our veterans praise. Also, I'm very happy to be affiliated with Valley, home with weekly TV, and as well as on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Uverse, and then it hovers also Major League Baseball in the baseball season. And I also want to say very happy to be affiliated with Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast TV Effect TV all around the world. As you pick up the phone, you just say, play Big C Sports Podcast, and actually it comes up. So I love giving them praise. Like in the book, Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 3, God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and just say, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see our app pop up somewhere in the world. Really do appreciate that with Big C Sports Podcast. Also for real estate, for people interested in real estate, go to valleyhomesweekly.com. Love the affiliation with valleyhomesweekly.com. Also, the National Real Estate Post to find out what's going on in the world of real estate. And then you can go to mortgagedailynews.com, trying to recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers to join the Big C team to help put people back to work, just like McDonald's does it, car dealerships are doing it, sports teams do it. Watch TV and real estate work for you. Or you can call 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Give that some praise for the Big C team. All fair and level one recruiting all-star agents and brokers. Really do appreciate that. Also, I just want to say, I love so much about what's going on. Be careful when you're out there betting. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. Oftentimes you hear about people that have the great deal. Guys call me all the time, hey, Carlton, I got the great deal on the game, and I'm glad I didn't listen. I was telling, but the bookie was right saying that San Francisco would beat the Rams, but I'm still not going to put my money into it. I want to say very happy for sponsorship with Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol and 100% on this game. Sports fans, when you watch the big game tonight, eat it with the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. And they might see some exotic defenses with the way I'm telling you, they're coming on strong. They are coming on strong. The New England Patriots and then the Atlanta Falcons, kind of an up and down team. The crowd down in Atlanta has a lot to cheer about if they can help pull an upset. But I doubt if that's going to happen. Bill Belichick has those good boys from the Patriots playing a really good football. And I'm looking at them, even though I don't bet on games, to me they have the same opportunity that they had when Belichick was going to the playoffs year in and year out. For those of you looking for health care insurance, go to Covered California. That's coveredca.com. Or you can call 800-300-1506. That's 800-300-1506. If you're looking for health care, coveredcalifornia.com. It's all out there in level where I really do appreciate that. For all of you people who love the sports world, I want to come and talk to you more about what's going on in the world of sports and also the COVID protocol, because it's happening tonight. I'm going to talk also about something that's going on in Major League Baseball. You know, everybody has their own opinions about it, but I want to open up tonight with the game NFL football Thursday night football. And I know everybody says, man, this football every day of the week almost. But week 11 NFL game picks, the Patriots and the Falcons for Thursday night football. And I think about all of the talk about how New England's going to come and bounce back and what's going to happen with Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons. The game kicked off already at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. It kicked off at 8:20 p.m. East Coast time, 5:20 p.m. here on the West Coast. And it's on Fox Sports, also the NFL Network, as well as Amazon. The Patriots come in as a 6.5-point favorite. Now, the over-under this game is 47. I don't see the Falcons scoring a lot. I see the Patriots scoring quite a bit, just the way they've been playing lately with their defense. They just had a beatdown of the Cleveland Browns. But this game had a lot of intrigue to it because you have Matt Ryan, and he's going up against Mac Jones. Matt Ryan's a veteran quarterback, went to the Super Bowl with the Atlanta Falcons, even though they lost, and then Mac Jones played at Alabama last year. He's a starter for the New England Patriots. If you think about Cordell Patterson, he got hurt, the tight end. Hayden Hurst injury should not be ignored either. So Patterson, they were saying he was a game-time decision. You have to see if he plays in that or not. But the Patriots front seven, that's the key. Their defensive turnaround, when you think about Matt Judon, Christian Barmore, winning more and more one-on-one matchups than any tandem since Chandler Jones was in the building. And then you got a player by the name of Dante Hightower who made the biggest play in the matchup, his most famous game. We know about the 25-point comeback in the Super Bowl. But the only way the Falcons stay close in this game is if you have the former Patriots coordinator, Dean Pease, if he does up a brilliant game plan, you can never count him out. I think it's unlikely. I know Atlanta had the upset win over the New Orleans Saints just about a week ago. But the players, I'm telling you, in this game, there's so much to count on when you look at New England. They're coached by Bill Belichick. He's the guy that's all over it. I think he'll have the Patriots playing good football again tonight, as they always seem to. It's just a matter of how he coaches and how he manages that team. I can never count out a Bill Belichick coach football team. And on the other side of the coin, when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, and I know Matt Ryan is the guy that he really carries a banner for the Atlanta Falcons. They have a team, a beautiful stadium. Everybody knows that this team is, you can't say rebuilding. They are a veteran team, but coming out of the NFC South, you're going to have none other than, in my opinion, even though they've lost 2 in a row, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, of course. And then you got to also keep in mind that just because the Saints lost Jameis Winston, they still have, I say you could call them a good defensive team, but it just seems like they're going to be overmatched when it comes to competing with Tampa. Carolina, when you have Carolina with Cam Newton now, I think obviously that's going to give them a more breathing room to have a more of a run-pass option with their quarterbacking with the great Cam Newton. That, to me, makes all the difference in the world because you can't figure out which guy to cover if you're going deep passes because Cam Newton can pick up the ball and run with it. So that's going to help also with Carolina. So are we looking at a last place in the division with the Atlanta Falcons? I sure think so. I think if you look at the AFC and you look at the AFC East, and people right now are looking at Buffalo as the front runner, maybe, just maybe, but you also got to look at the New England Patriots. They are a team under Belichick that has a winning tradition. He knows how to win. He's been coaching winning football ever since he's been away from the Cleveland Browns when he started with them. But this is the coach that has taken his time. The Patriots are a rebuilding team, but they're a rebuilding team in the eyes of football matters, but they're not a rebuilding team when it comes to coach. They have one of the best defensive staffs in the league. And I think when you look at what Bill Belichick has and what they're doing down in Atlanta tonight, you're going to see just two different teams heading in different directions. So you can give that praise. The crowd might get on it early. Always a chance for an upset, but I really doubt it. Any type of upset happening with the Falcons. And again, no one thought that the 49ers, outside of me and a guy from Vegas that called me, no one thought the 49ers would end up beating the Los Angeles Rams, but that happened. Not many people picked that the Washington football team would knock off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it happened. So Tampa's lost 2 in a row. No one's calling for an upset in tonight's game. Just not going to happen. New England's too good a team. And so when they tell you that the over-under is out there for people that want to bet on it, if you really want to put your money out there, the over-under is a lot. I don't think you're going to have New England scoring 40 points in this game. But show me. how the Falcons get above 14 against the Patriots team. Look at what the Patriots did to Cleveland, which is a better offensive team than the Falcons right now, it seems. But I would look at if Atlanta can get 14 points at home, the over-under is pretty high. You're still looking at New England getting probably 30. So I'm going to say the over-under is going to stay under 47. That's like 44 is the over-under in my opinion. But, you know, all it takes is a one long touchdown pass, and Matt Ryan's going to be throwing the ball a lot. So we'll see what happens in that game. But I do like what New England's doing right now. They put themselves back in the catbird seat to challenge for the AFC East. Buffalo just have to slip a little bit, and they still have to play each other this year twice. I would not think that if one team can win both games, I would say it'd be New England. But maybe they split. But if I can look at a team that's going to win this game as far as coaching, I'm still looking at what Bill Belichick's been able to do with the New England Patriots, and that's my opinion. I think you're looking at a team in the Patriots, and I would say I was wrong about them. I didn't think they would. I thought they would beat Cleveland, but not as decisively as they shut them down. Also, coming out to the West Coast, I thought the Chargers would handle New England, but their defense had 8 returning starters that did not play last year because of COVID. Now they're playing this year, so they've turned things around for Belichick and that defense, and they're going to get down in the South in Atlanta. No lightning storms in Atlanta. They play inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but it should be, in my opinion, a win for New England. They're just a very good football team. Give them praise. Give them praise. Both teams give them praise. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout, in the form of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. All right, we are back for the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the number one podcast, actually on 18 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. Shohei Ohtani wins American League Most Outstanding Player, All Fair and Love Award. But I want to get back to some NFL football as we look at some of the divisions, just talking about what's going on in the world of NFL football. And everybody has their own thoughts about who's going to win what and what team is poised to win the playoff, the division, and get into the playoffs. I'm going to start with the AFC East. And again, it's just an opinion, but I look at Buffalo. They are 6-3 atop the AFC East, and that's a good team. I think the loss to Jacksonville in the division is going to hurt them more than anything down the road, because they should have been 7-2 right now. And then, not so fast, my friend, the New England Patriots, those good old boys, they are 6-4. So when you think about that, you can get that right there is knocking on the door. Tonight, think about it. Tonight, if the Patriots win, and they probably will, no guarantee of anything, but they probably will beat Atlanta tonight, then they're going to have more wins in the AFC East. And so they'll be tied, really, because in the win-loss column. But they'll have 7 wins, which will vault them in the winners column to number 1 first place in the AFC East, even though the Bills get to play over the weekend. That puts a lot of pressure on the Buffalo Bills in their game coming up over the weekend. I'll do a preview of them in Big C's NFL football preview. And now the Miami Dolphins, they are 3-7 in the AFC East, followed by the New York Jets, and they are 2-7. And then, of course, Coach Saleh having the chance to rebuild that program, and Brian Flores having the chance. Miami won 10 wins last year, so we'll see what happened with those two teams this year as they finish up in the second half of the NFL football season. Going to go over to the AFC West, where it's like the Wild Wild West when you think about it. No longer is Kansas City being challenged by the newcomers. I think the Chargers started the season at 4-1. Well, the Chargers are now 5-4. You look at the Raiders started the season, I know they were at 5-2. Well, the Raiders have had their own issues lately. Different coach let go, has a lawsuit against Roger Goodell in the NFL. And then the Broncos, they started out 3-0, if you recall that. Well, since Broncos started out 3-0, they are now 5-5. They've gone 2-5 since going 3-0. They've traded Von Miller. You know, they have their own issues. The Raiders, they don't have Henry Ruggs III. They do have Deshaun Jackson. But they have, it's like they're rounding up to be what they've always been. The Chargers, a lot of people were pulling for the Chargers to maybe make that second playoff team out of the AFC West. Maybe they still have a chance. They're 5-4. on the season. But Kansas City has a game coming up against Dallas. And it's going to be at home, Arrowhead Stadium. I know Kansas City had a big win over the Raiders just over the weekend. Dallas had a huge win, as they had a big win over the weekend as well. But I think the way Dallas is playing and the way Kansas City is playing, I think Dallas is a better team. So the Chargers and the Raiders and the Broncos, in my opinion, they have a chance to get even with the Chiefs as we get through this week. So we'll see what happens. I know everybody says you gotta hold off. You're thinking about who's going to win right now. There's just too many games to play. But I would not be surprised if we have a logjam in the AFC West at the end of this week with Dallas and Kansas City playing. But again, Patrick Mahomes can pull a rabbit out of his hat like he did against the Raiders last week. But I think the Cowboys are a lot better team than what the Raiders are. But we'll see in the AFC North. Going to the Baltimore Ravens, they're 6-3, but they don't look as they looked a while ago, just a week ago, or even 2 weeks ago. I think this is the team that I still pick to win the NFC or the AFC North. They're 6-3 on the season. The Steelers are 5-3-1. How they have that tie with the Detroit Lions, no one knows. It was just, because we don't have Big Ben. No Big Ben, no win. Been saying that. And then the terrible towels didn't help either. So the Bengals, they were flying high. They had a game where they nearly beat the Green Bay Packers, which many people pick as the top one or two teams in the NFL. So the Bengals have come down. They've been chasing. Jamar Chase is a great receiver, but they've been chasing the Ravens all year long. And the Steelers, no one thought they would be in the second place spot. The Steelers should be 6-3, but they're 5-3-1. And then the Browns have fallen on a little bit of tough times. Baker Mayfield has a little injury, and then they got rid of Odell Beckham Jr. They lack a lot of chemistry in Cleveland, but they still have a good offensive line. And it's hard to say they have a good defense because the way they were beaten up by the New England Patriots. But it's all fair and love and war. So those are the teams that I think are going to make a run in the AFC North, looking at the Ravens and the Steelers competing for a playoff. But I don't want to count out the Bengals. I know they got out to a fast start, and now they've kind of rounded out to who they really are. I'm going to go to the AFC South before we take the pause and go over to the NFC. The Tennessee Titans, who would have thought they would be 8-2 on the season without touchdown Derrick Henry, who was injured when he had about 917 yards somewhere there. Could have been another 1,000-yard rusher easily for them. The Indianapolis Colts, they are 5-5 on the season. They had a nice win over the New York Jets when they came to town. But this is a team, they're a 500 football team. Don't really know if you can trust Carson Wentz, but I don't think they're going to catch the Tennessee Titans either. Tennessee is a really good team offensively and defensively. You know if you can bring in Adrian Peterson, who has a lot of mileage on him, and he can start for that team, they're winning with their defense. So Ravens doing a good job with the defense down south for the Tennessee Titans. Indianapolis Colts still waiting to see. It's still out for them to see if they can win more decisively. But 5-5, a lot of people thought they were going to win the division. And we'll see, because they're right now way behind, 3 games behind the Tennessee Titans. Jacksonville Jaguars, who would have thought that they would have a better record than the Houston Texans? I know the Texans don't have Deshaun Watson. They have a lot of issues this year. But Jacksonville is 2-7 in the AFC South, and most likely will not finish in last place. So if anything, with that, you can give Urban Meyer a lot of credence, I think, because he was kind of whipped around by a lot of people saying that he didn't deserve to have that head coaching job anyway. That's just part of media. People jump on you because that's what media do. They're not playing the game, myself included. The Houston Texans are 1-8 in the NFL in the AFC South. So we know they will probably mop up the bottom of the division, and it doesn't look good for them because they've decided that they're not going to, for whatever reason, move on Deshaun Watson. So they're going to be holding the cupboard, that whatever they hold, that the computer in his hand. They should have figured this out a long time ago, but they chose not to. I don't understand all the inner workings of what's going on, but someone's going to pick him up eventually. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more things in the NFC. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 18 podcast applications all over the universe and 4 TV applications. It's all fair and level. We're going to talk about what's happening right now, standing-wise, in the NFL, and looking at, it seems like the easiest division to win over the last 2 seasons, especially. The NFC East have, as some people feel, is the best football team in the NFL, or at least in the NFC. But time will tell. There's always a thing called the upset, because last week people were talking about Arizona and also Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago. And then Green Bay Packers. It's the same thing. The Rams, they were all the same conversation. They will all be part of the playoff chase. But number one in the AFC is the Dallas Cowboys. They are 7-2 on the season. They found their defense. Offensively, they're a firepower team. They've been able to run the ball better. Ezekiel Elliott's been out in the wind a little bit more. Dak Prescott, as long as he stays healthy, this is a team that's going to run away with the NFC East. And right now, they're up 7-2. Man, that loss they had on the road opening the season when they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's the game they should have won. And then the blowout at home to Denver, inexplicable. We don't know what happened, but they bounced back the week later. And then you have the Philadelphia Eagles. Who would have thought the Eagles would be second place right now with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback in the NFC East? They are 4-6 on the season. Not the best division in NFL football, probably the worst division. But the Eagles, with all the challenges that they had about who they want to start at quarterback, the Eagles are number 2 right now in the NFC East at 4-6. And I think Jalen Hurts is just going to get better. Washington football team, who saw it coming when they would knock off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? No one saw that coming except for some of the fans and Washington and maybe the players, of course. Everyone has to believe they can win. But they're 3-6 on the season. And this is the team that they're not going to make the playoffs. They have a game coming up against Carolina as a Cam Newton, Ron Rivera reunion. So who knows if, I don't think it's going to affect them too much. They're focused on the game, coaching and also playing, but the media will make something out of it. And then the New York Giants, in the biggest media market in the United States of America, New York City, the Giants are still, they're always rebuilding. A lot of injuries, but everyone gets injuries. They're 3-6 on the season. As bad as they are at 3-6, they beat the Raiders, which is right now tied for second in the AFC West. So they beat the Raiders. They also had a narrow loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is a Giants team that no matter what people think about them, they could eat, well, if and the ands or buts don't matter, but they could be a 5-win team versus a 4-loss team, but that didn't happen. They're 3-6 for a reason, but they're also a team that can upset some people. So don't want to look too far ahead of you when you look at that team. I want to also look at the NFC West in NFL football. The Arizona Cardinals, man, they're 8-2 on the season. They've lost 2 of the last 3. They lost the game at home against the Green Bay Packers. Just a miscommunication in the pass that was intercepted in the end zone. And then the Rams were all the talk of the town, especially Los Angeles, and then in the NFC West, because the Rams have dropped 2 in a row on the season. They are 7-3. I know they have Odell Beckham Jr., so he has to get used to Matthew Stafford, but their running game and their passing game is legit. Their defense is legit. Von Miller has to they just got to work things out. He and Darnold on the defensive side of the ball, which sides they're going to rush. They can be opposite sides of each other, but they're a very good team, and McVay's going to get them whipped into shape. They're still 7-3. They have a tough game coming up down the stretch. They got to face New England, not New England. They got to face the Green Bay Packers. They also got to face the Cardinals again. And I think when you look at what happened with the 49ers, they lost 5 in a row versus San Francisco. They play the Niners again later in the season, and the Niners are rising. The Niners are 4-5 in the division. I predicted they would get a win over the Los Angeles Rams, because if they run the ball and play smash ball football, let Jimmy G get the dink and dunk passes, go 5 and 10 yard outs, as opposed to trying to throw 30 and 40 yards downfield where the ball tends to float on him. He's good under 20 yards. He was like that on the Super Bowl campaign. So Shanahan has probably figured that out. Get Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk involved, and as well as Kittles. They're a good team. I love what the 49ers are doing. They're going to go down to Jacksonville. They should go to 500. Without shenanigans, there's not a lot of humidity this time of year. So the 49ers should go to Jacksonville and get a win and come back 5-5 at the end of the season. The Seattle Seahawks, the most disappointing team in the NFC West. Russell Wilson was shut out for the first time in his career at Green Bay. Not him, but the whole team. But, of course, DK Metcalf, you got to have a big game out of him. You did, and he got kicked out of the game. Pete Carroll blaming the officials. That's not going to help your team win. They got shut out on offense. I know Wilson had the hand injury. Maybe came back too soon. Who knows? But you got to play him because you're paying him a lot of money. But they didn't score any points. And that hurts Seattle. because not many people thought they were going to beat Green Bay at Lambeau Field, but I don't see anyone seeing them being shut out. But that's what happened to them, and that is going to catch up to them. They'll most likely miss the playoffs this year after making the playoffs last year. I'm going to go to the NFC North, as a lot of people love the Green Bay Packers. They are 8-2 on the season. We know that touchdown Aaron Rodgers had the COVID set out for about 10 days. All the talk about media, where they told the truth or lie. We know he was not honest with the media, but they got to put football on the front of their minds in the Packer organization as well. And if they do, they're going to run away with the NFC North. The Vikings are 4-5. I had the Vikings pulling and winning over the Chargers when they came to the West Coast. They were able to do that. They were 4-5 on the season. They have some close losses. The Vikings are a team that can beat anybody because their defense hangs in there. Their offense doesn't score a lot of points, but their defense keeps them in the games. I like the Chicago Bears rebuilding. I think when you look at Justin Fields, he's a quarterback of the future. They just got to figure out how to utilize him for his strength. Even though he can run out of the pocket and throw the ball downfield, he's a run-pass option. I still want to see him work on his drop-back passing again because he can do it. And the more you rush him, more chance of him to be banged up, especially playing up in the NFC North Division. It's all fair and level war, but the Bears 3-6 on the season, and congratulations for them. They're a field goal make by the Steelers from winning that game. They could have had a 4-5 record on the season right now, but they're 3-6. And then the Detroit Lions, they haven't won a game, but they're 0-8-1, 8 losses and 1 tie against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this is the team that did not give up. Even when you go on the road and you have a chance to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mason Rudolph is quarterback, but give the Lions some praise. At least they didn't lose that game. I know it's a hard thing for NFL teams to go through the season and not winning. And when they were able to get a win, it's not a win, but it's not a loss. So it's not a win, but it's not a loss, if that makes sense to you. And I really think that this is a team that they might get a win throughout the season. I don't see them going winless. They already have the tie, so there's always hope. And again, the Bears are only 3-6. And the Vikings, they play close also. So give the Lions at least one win coming up this season. We'll see what happens. I want to run to the NFC South. When you look at the NFC South, you have the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady's at 44 years old. Some people saying he's playing at MVP caliber, but I think Tom Brady having some issues. His last 2 games against New Orleans, interception, return for a touchdown. Also the game against Washington, another pick 6. Is Tom Brady missing passes? Is he missing receivers? Or are they just not right chemistry-wise? I know Antonio Brown has to get back in the saddle. They have a star-studded defense. There was no reason for them to lose that game at Washington, as good as they are, at least on paper. But it's hard to maintain the edge. It's hard to come back and keep winning. But the fact that they've dropped 2 in a row and Tom Brady's looking like he's more of a normal quarterback than an MVP, that's a team that has to turn things around with Bruce Arians and saying they played a bad game. But he has to coach better. It's all fair and level war. A team that I had a lot of hope for when the season started, the New Orleans Saints, no Jameis Winston's, and I think that's going to hurt their chances of competing. Well, I won't say that competing with Tampa, but they're not going to win the NFC South. I think they'll find ways to lose that race just because Tampa's going to find a way to get off the rust and find a way to climb the ladder and win the NFC South. But the Saints are 5-4, and they always have a chance to knock off someone as they did with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not going to be a playoff team this year, or maybe they will. A team that I'm looking at that may be a playoff team, that may just sneak in the door, Carolina Panthers. Christian McCaffrey's back. Cam Newton's back. Has to get the rust off of him. Might take him another game to do that, but they have a run-pass option at quarterback, and they have a run-pass option at running back. You can hand off to McCaffrey or throw it to him out of the backfield. They didn't have that with Sam Darnold. So I think if they go with Cam Newton, has a lot to prove, has his nose in the playbook, that's a quarterback that can make the safety stay up a little bit closer because they don't know if he's going to run it or roll out out in the flat and pass it. So either way, they have more options in the backfield than they had 2 weeks ago. And again, the upset win over Arizona down in the desert, sponsored by the Big C Burger. It was a tasty burger, and it came with what's also exotic meats, as the Cardinals and the Panthers are exotic meats. So that's my thinking on the NFC South. And then we come to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have a chance to climb the ladder and go to 5-5 on the season, but they're 4-5 right now in the NFC South. I don't see them really climbing out of that division especially with the game tonight going up against the New England Patriots, which are, again, Belichick. If they win tonight, then they will actually climb the ladder on the Buffalo Bills as the best team in the AFC East. We will see. There's a lot of football to be played. I love this time of year. I'm going to have Big C's previews on NFL football next on Friday. It's all friends of the war. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back on the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 18 podcast applications all over the universe. You know, just when you say it's okay to come out of... I won't even say that because people might misconstrue it. It's okay to come out and be who you are. You are who we think you are. There's rumors that Antonio Brown obtained a fake COVID-19 vaccination card, and that's interesting. You can look into that either way that you want to. So they did have a Cordell Patterson ruled out for tonight's game versus the Patriots. But think about this. We just had the thing with who's going to get vaccinated, who's not going to get vaccinated. We had the thing with Aaron Rodgers deciding to say he was immunized. And then you have the issue with Antonio Brown. There's some rumors that he got a fake COVID-19 card. I don't know if he did or not. But isn't that a shame when all you got to do is say you don't want to be vaccinated and then deal with the league's protocol? But, Tampa is a retirement community. So Antonio Brown allegedly obtained a fake COVID-19 vaccination card, and former wide receiver has been accused of obtaining a fake COVID-19 vaccination card. That's according to the Tampa Bay Times, where a lot of retirees live in Tampa. And so they reported it today that according to a reporter and a former personal chef for the wide receiver had his girlfriend, I'm not going to get into her name, but reached out to Wiz over the summer to obtain a fake vaccination card. That's summertime. We don't know if it's still now or not. They can easily find out. But he said that Brown received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, according to text messages. I don't want to get into fake rumors, but the NFL definitely looking into it because it's unclear if Brown later received the vaccination. So that's much ado about nothing, in my opinion. And I think it'd be pretty silly for an athlete in today's era. We looked at Kyrie Irving, what happened with him with the Brooklyn Nets, and how it's really affected their team. But that's something that happened allegedly in the summertime. Maybe someone wants to get their name in the paper. I have no idea. But I think it would be really a shame if he hasn't been vaccinated and people think he is. All fair and level war. So Major League Baseball, the great Shohei Ohtani, as I call this one at the beginning of the baseball season, the great Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Angels unanimously wins the American League MVP award. And then you also have maybe somewhat of a surprise, Philadelphia Phillies star Brice Harper captures his second career MVP. And when I look at the great Shohei Ohtani, the guy could do it on the mound as well as the batter's box. So obviously you're going to say that he is must-see TV. Even though he was injured quite a lot this season, it's still, when he was healthy, he reminds me when he was up to bat, it was like watching Barry Bonds play for the Giants. People just clamoring around the TV sets to see if it was worth watching. But I really love the fact that that young man has so much talent and was able to get it done and got the award. And even though he was injured for a lot of the season, still got the award. So give that praise. He and Brice Harper deserve a lot of praise and give them credit for their hard work. All's fair in love and war. When you think about it, there's a lot of players that were up for it. You got Brice Harper who got it. And the Phillies finished 82-80. Fernando Tatis Jr. finished, when you think about this guy, they finished 79-83 with the San Diego Padres. And Juan Soto with the Nationals, they went 65-97. At least the Phillies finished with a winning record, barely a winning record. And also it's going to be the first time since 1987 when Andre Dawson of that Chicago Cubs back in the day and George Bell of the Toronto Blue Jays won both MVP. Winners failed to reach the postseason. The only other two times that has happened since the Baseball Writers Association of America began voting in 1931 was 1977. George Foster and the great Rod Carew, 1978 Dave Parker, as well as Jim Rice. So those are good big-time players that had some big-time seasons on the baseball diamond. The tally was Harper finished with 348, so 17 first-place votes overall. Juan Soto had 274 votes, 6 first-place votes. The great Fernando Tatis Jr. for the Padres had 244 votes, only 2 first-place votes when I thought he was probably the best player out of those. And then Brandon Crawford for the Giants had a tremendous season, 213 votes and 4 first-place votes. Trey Turner of the Nationals and Dodgers through trade, 185 votes, 1 first-place vote. It's all fair in love and war. I really feel, when you think about it, these great players did so much to make baseball great again this year. And I really appreciate it. You look at Ohtani, 420 votes, 30 first-place votes. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the Blue Jays. Remember, he won the home run derby. He had 269 votes, as well as Marcus Semien, 232, and the great Aaron Judge for the Yankees. Well, Marcus Semien for the Blue Jays, so 2 teammates there. And then the great Aaron Judge had 171 votes. Carlos Correa for Houston, 163 votes. They were the runner-up to the Atlanta Braves in the World Series. All's fair in love and war. When you think about the winner when it comes to National League Cy Young, I mean, there's all the talk over the years about Corbin Burns with the Brewers. And the vital tally there, Burns, 151 votes, 12 first-place votes. The great Zach Wheeler for the Phillies, 141 votes, 12 first-place votes. The great Max Scherzer with the Nationals and the Dodgers, 113 votes, 6 first-place votes. The great Walker Buehler, his teammate for the Dodgers, had 70 first-place votes. It's all fair and love and war. I really loved how baseball culminated this year. We went to 6 games in the World Series. With the when you think about how great the season was for the Atlanta Braves, they were the underdog in every series that they played in, against Milwaukee, also against the Dodgers, and they were still underdogs against the Houston Astros. But they were able to pull a rabbit out of their hat, and they got it done. Robbie Ray, the winner of the American League Cy Young, Ray 209 votes, 29 first-place votes. The great Garrett Cole for the Yankees had 123 votes, 1 first-place vote. I thought that he was also a very deserving. Lance Lynn, the White Sox, the great Tony La Russa did a great job with the White Sox this year, had 48 votes. Nathan Eovaldi of the Red Sox had 41 votes. And then Carlos Rondon with the White Sox, 34. It's a great time for baseball. Last season, coming off of the COVID season, everybody was hoping that Major League Baseball could kind of bring people back together again. And it did. And I'm glad the way that a lot of these players played through COVID protocol and whatever it took to stay mentally focused to get their performance at a high level. So congratulations to them. On the National League Rookie of the Year, the winner, Jonathan India for the Cincinnati Reds. Final tally, 148 votes, 29 first-place votes. Trevor Rogers for the Marlins, 86 votes, 1 first-place vote. And then Dylan Carlson for the Cardinals had racked up 22 votes, as well as Patrick Wisdom for the Chicago Cubs at 5 votes. Ian Anderson for the world champion Atlanta Braves, 3 votes. And baseball did a lot to keep people in the seats, keep us all prayed, I won't say prayed up, but praying for help and vaccine cure, that people would take it more serious, at least talk to their medical doctors about getting vaccinated. The American League Rookie of the Year, Randy Arianza for the Tampa Bay Rays. That's a team that right down to the wire, and they're always, I mean, they're a team that's just got the right formula for the American League East. Those good old boys. And the final total, Arianza, 124 votes, 22 first-place votes. The great Luis Garcia for the runner-up Houston Astros, 63 votes and 2 first-place votes. Brander Franco with the Tampa Bay Rays, another great teammate of Arianza has 30 votes overall, 2 overall. Adolis Garcia for the Rangers, 27 votes, 3 first place. Emmanuel Clace for the Indians, which will be the Guardians. I think it's going to be in 2022. I might be wrong about that, but I think they're changing that so that they get that name worked out to be more politically correct or just politically responsible. But I want to also bring it to the National League Manager of the Year. And this is the team that I was picking would win the World Series. But hey, they came a little bit short, but I still want to give them praise. The city by the dock of the bay. You got to look at the National League Manager of the Year. Gabe Kapler for the San Francisco Giants. 143 votes, 28 first-place votes. The Giants won a league best and a franchise best 107 regular season games, and it took them 5 games against their league rival Los Angeles Dodgers to end their season. But the Dodgers won 106 games, and they were beaten by the Braves that didn't even win 100 games. So it's about who gets hot at that time. When you look at Craig Counsell for the Brewers, Milwaukee Brewers, 75 votes, had 1 first-place vote. Mike Smith for the Cardinals had 25 votes, 1 first-place vote. And then Brian Snitker for the Braves, 21 votes. The world champion Atlanta Braves. The great Dave Roberts for the LA Dodgers had 6 votes overall, and they were the defending world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. So things change, but baseball is in such a good state right now. The Giants used the general lack of respect that a lot of people gave them. Not me. I was calling them to win the World Series all season long. I was also wrong, but they did get the best record in Major League Baseball, so I take a lot of solace in knowing what kind of ball club they've put out this year. But when you think about it, no one really saw San Francisco as a playoff team outside of Big C Sports when the season began, much less a team that would win more games than any other in the great history of the San Francisco Giants. Kapler obviously earned it, and the Giants, 107 games, 107 wins is a lot. So they deserve that. American League Manager of the Year, Kevin Cash, for the Tampa Bay Rays. He got 109 votes, 19 first-place votes. And then Scott Servais for the Mariners, Seattle Mariners, 71 votes overall, 5 first-place votes. The classic Dusty Baker for the World Series runner-up, Houston Astros, had 33 overall votes and 2 first-place votes. I really love Dusty Baker as just a general in baseball. I want to give Dusty some praise. I've been doing it a long time. Seems a little bit short this time, but it's a class act and brought the Houston Astros much-needed class, and they were looking for it, and Dusty was the right man for the job, and he's coming back next year also. Charlie Montoya for the Blue Jays, 23 votes, 3 first-place votes. The great Alex Cora with the Red Sox. What a run the Red Sox had this year. 16 votes, 1 place vote. And then I think a first-place vote, the great Tony La Russa for the Chicago White Sox had 15 votes, and Tony La Russa has been a playoff manager. It seems like everywhere he goes, from Oakland to St. Louis and then to Chicago, just keeps winning, the great Tony La Russa. A.J. Hinch for the Tigers had 3 votes. It's all fair and love and war. But I love what baseball was able to do to get people back into the seats again. I know when you think about the Rays, Tampa had a lot of turnovers from their 2020 American League pennant winning squad, especially on the pitching staff. That's another boost to Cash's case. And still, the fact that the matter is the Rays do a great job of finding talent and improving talent. It's not like Cash was winning in the AAA players. They find a lot of talent, and they bring them into their system, and they help them win. It's all fair and level war. So I want to give all the people from Major League Baseball some praise for winning your awards. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 18 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. Tonight, NBA basketball schedule. Just wanted to congratulate all the guys in Major League Baseball that got their awards. But tonight's the night for Thursday night football, of course. We have the New England Patriots on the road taking on the Atlanta Falcons. But the NBA schedule, not as big a schedule as we'll have coming up for you on Friday night. But the league's first place, Golden State Warriors, already tipped off at Cleveland. Remember the battles they've had for NBA championships. That's tipped off at 4:30 p.m. And then you have the Washington. They are taking on the Miami Heat down in Miami. That's a 4:30 p.m. tip-off. The Los Angeles Clippers at the Memphis Grizzlies, a 5 p.m. tip-off already underway. The San Antonio Spurs, they're at Minnesota, also a tip-off at 5 o'clock p.m. Philadelphia 76ers having, their own issues internally, and hopefully COVID is not that much of a strain on a lot of the players that play in that roster. They're at Denver, and man, what a game that could have been if Joel Embiid wasn't on the COVID protocol. But at the Denver Nuggets tonight, tipping off at 6 o'clock p.m. And the Toronto at the Utah Jazz, the I'm telling you that Utah team is a good team. They're up in the high altitude. Gobert, them good old boys, they know how to play. He's a shot blocker, and Toronto's going to have their hand full going into Utah and trying to get a win up against the Wasatch Mountains. All fair and level weather, but I love giving NBA praise. We'll have NBA scheduled for tomorrow, coming up on tomorrow's show also. But I want to end our show with the talk of cryptocurrency and digital currency. I don't know much about it, so it's probably something I can't really speak about too much. But the NBA basketball universe, Los Angeles, California Staples Center will now be known as Crypto.com Arena. After Christmas, I believe there's $700 million in naming rights. And some people don't like it because no one really understands. I can't say no one, but a very finite amount of people understand crypto. But it will always be Staples Center, and nobody's going to say Crypto.com Arena, but they will. Lumen Field up in Seattle, Washington used to be known as Quest Field. Oracle Ballpark in San Francisco used to be AT&T Ballpark. And what my favorite name was Pac Bell Ballpark over in San Francisco. And things changed. So every team, if they can get the signage, they're going to change. Look at the Los Angeles, Southern California SoFi Center for the Los Angeles Rams and Chargers. They used to play at the LA Coliseum. It was not the SoFi LA Coliseum. So whoever names it, I think the Chargers played at the Home Depot Center or StubHub down in Carson, but things changed. But it's going to happen after December 25th. The Staples Center will be technically no longer have the name as Staples Center. But that building will never truly be the Crypto.com Arena. But they have decided to change the name. And there's thoughts about why they're going from Staples. Because $700 million, if anyone were to give you $700 million to change your name, I'd change my name for $700. Welcome to this cryptocurrency.com. Sports, not Big C Sports, crypto. Hey, how about crypto? Crypto.com Arena. How about crypto.com sponsored Big C Sports? I'll take $700 million. You know you got it. $7 million might do too. Big C Sports sponsored by crypto.com. It's all fair and level. And I mean that. 800-772-8624. But it's always, and some people, going to be the Staples Center, no matter how many hundreds of millions. Oh, no, hold on. Hit the brakes. When people say no matter how many millions or hundreds of millions of dollars pump in, I just told you I would change my name. Instead of being Charlton Curry, it'd be Crypto Curry. If they gave me the money, I'd do it right now. A lot of people would change the name for $700 million. Come on. Let's be honest. If not, go see his doctor. $700 million. Everybody changed their name. I think George Foreman named his kids. I think they're all named one or something like that. But it's always, in some people's mind, going to be Staples Center. Well, San Francisco used to play, I mean, again, it's Oracle Ballpark. It used to be AT&T Impact Ballpark. But when you think about it, Crypto.com paid for the naming rights in the home of the Los Angeles Sparks, Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, Los Angeles Kings. It's the Staples Center. We know the Clippers are going to move over to Inglewood and have their own arena pretty soon. But money does talk. And if they're going to come in with that amount of money and naming rights, give them praise. Check didn't bounce. $700 million? A lot of people would change their name. So some sports writers, they refer to the arena as some obligation to call it by a new title. But unless you happen to have to work there, you don't care the name of the arena. You just want to have your credential approved. But you can call it whatever you want to call it. You still want to find teams that compete. But Crypto.com Arena is a little bit different. But we're in a crypto world. They're crypto. I think there are Bitcoin and crypto ATM machines in banks. So for people that don't understand it, I would like to know more about it as well. A lot of people do. You got to face it. There's a lot of people in Los Angeles that thought the building was named the Staples Center and that it was going to stay there. And it was going to always be that way because the people, the paper stapled together. But when you think about it, there's so many things that happen in Los Angeles that's cutting edge technology. Even Silicon Valley up here in the Bay Area, you don't have an emotional attachment to a name. Like Staples, not emotional for people. Golden One Center in Sacramento is not emotional. Chase Center in San Francisco for the Warriors, that's not emotional. Could you imagine that Silicon Valley is up north. But Chase paid for the signing on the Chase Center for the Golden State Warriors. It could be Crypto Arena. How about Crypto Chase? Crypto Chase Arena. But the NBA will do whatever they can. Boston Celtics have TD Garden. No longer just the Boston Celtics, the Boston Garden. It's TD Gardens now. Staples Center changing their name. So no matter what happens, people will always go where the money is. That's why you have a Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. No one would pay any money for basketball highlights or any other thoughts if they didn't want to watch the product. Dogecoin, the cryptocurrency, literally started as a joke. Now the market cap was somewhere around $31 billion. People can laugh at it if we don't understand it. So understand the world of crypto. If you can get a new sign on the building, if it gets $700 million, somebody's going to take it. Speaking of $700 million, I want $700 million. You can have $700 million. Big C Sports wants $700 million. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown, who's been known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young men rumble. And why do you eat those exotic meats? Ali said, because with all these exotic meats, I'm light on my feet. I can't possibly be beat. That's why I'm rumbling, young man rumbling. I'm always rumbling with these Big C burgers and make me light on my feet. I'm pretty and I can't possibly be beat. It's all fair and love and war. As my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.